I'm Sarah. I did BC back in November '09, I think. And a month before that, I'd met Rich and Liz, and I was in a really bad place. I'd had a really bad divorce. I'd been in a very controlling marriage, and I had no self-worth. I had tons of self-doubt. I didn't know anything about me, really. And it was a very strange set of coincidences how I ended up doing BC. My sister, Kate, actually happened to be doing the lunches for the course in the October, the month before, and she heard Paul speak, and she just said, shit, that's my sister, and I need to get her here, because his story is very similar to mine. I've never heard Paul's story, and he's never heard mine, but I believe we have quite similar stories. So Kate did actually drag me along. I really didn't want to go. I cried the whole way. I only lived 10 minutes from where, so I had no excuse not to go. But I cried the whole way there. I couldn't find my way into Addisea where we have it. And I just thought, what the hell am I doing here? And I walked in, and Liz, I think, was the first person that saw me. And as Liz does with everybody, you just get the hugest hug, and you instantly feel there's a connection there. Somebody's feeling something that I feel. And I'd never felt that before. And she said, the first thing she ever said to me was, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't need fixing. You're just reading from a bad script. And I thought, what's she talking about? What is she talking about? But anyway, so on the day that I was there, it so happened that Jackie and Guy had come in to speak to that course. And these are kind of all really key people in BC for me that have made a difference. And Guy sat down, and he started to talk about this civil war, and I went, no, I'm the only person who has that civil war. Nobody else has that, because I'm different. But nobody else has that voice in their head except for me, because I'm different to everybody else. Everybody else is sorted, and you know, nobody else feels like I feel. But through hearing that somebody else had that voice in that head and that civil war going on in their head, just even that split second there started to make me realise that maybe I just wasn't as different as I thought I was. So I was only there for an hour or something, but within that hour I said to Richard and Liz, have you got space on the November course? And so, yeah, I was on the November course. And the power of the first day when everybody tells their story is huge, because you realise through everybody telling their story that everybody's stories are different, but everybody has the same feelings. Everybody feels the same way somehow about themselves. And I was in such a bad place, and I honestly don't know where I would be today if my sister hadn't been doing the lunches that week. She hadn't listened to Paul speak. I hadn't heard Guy talk about the Civil War and the voices in his head, that I don't even want to think about where I'd be today. Because when Richard talked about bipolar earlier, that's pretty much my story. I went through this horrible divorce, I had depression, I had a breakdown, but everybody kept saying to me, yeah, but you're fine, you know, and it's like Jackie said, you know, when you look okay and everybody does see you as this confident person, it works against you, because inside of you, you're just thinking, no, I'm not that person, I don't feel like that, it's the duck thing. The duck's fine on the surface, but underneath the legs are going crazy. And I went to the doctor when, you know, all of this, and I couldn't get out of bed, and I was having days in bed, and I couldn't get up from under the duvet, and stuff like that. I went to the doctor, and they went, oh yeah, well, we'll put you on some Prozac, that will sort it out. So I was on Prozac for a few months, and guess what? I was back at the doctor's. No change, nothing's happening. Right, we'll change the Prozac, and we'll put you onto something else, and I'm sure that, you know, that's going to sort the problem out. But guess what? A few months later, I was back again, same problem. I think we need to sort some counselling out for you, so we'll you know, get some counselling sorted. But funnily enough, the NHS only gives you 6 weeks of counselling. So basically it's 6 hours, and they, you know, the NHS must think they can fix you in 6 hours, but Of course they can't. And the worst thing is, which I've also done BC coaching, and since doing that, and that's why I am so passionate about this today, is I know all of the therapy that I went through, and believe you me, I went through a hell of a lot of therapy, and all of the counselling and everything, they were treating me at the level of behaviour. And you cannot change somebody's behaviour. You can't change it at that level. They never talked about identity. They never talked about who I was as a person or everything. It was all about labels. And I got told, oh, yes, you're bipolar. You know what? Take this book home and read page 63 for homework and you'll read all about it. So off I go with the book and read the book and think, oh, shit. And you start doing all that stuff. And you get on the internet and you start looking it up. And then you truly believe that you are a person with bipolar. And, you know, and I saw a top psychiatrist at St Andrews here in Northampton, which supposedly you can't get better in the country. And there was no connection ever with these people I saw because they never showed a part of them to me for me to feel connected with them. And that's what happened with BC, with me, is Richard and Liz have something so special and so big. I don't believe they, like Jackie said, I don't believe they know what they've got. Maybe we don't even know, but it changed my life. Those 5 days changed my life. And I've never done this before, and there's no way in a million years I ever would have done this before BC. But my message is greater than my fear of standing here because I feel so passionate. I don't know if there's somebody out here who's going through therapy like I did, but if there's just one person who's struggled like I have, you have to do BC because you'll never do anything else again. You'll never need to because BC sorts it. It works at the level of identity, and that's the change, is when you work at that level. Everything else works at the level of behaviour, and that doesn't work. It can't work. Liz explained that in the pyramid, and it just can't work. So if you've even got the slightest inkling about thinking, doing it, just do it. You'll never regret it. And the other thing that's so great about BC is the network afterwards. I don't think anything else does that. This, you know, meeting on the last Tuesday in every month, it's changed now slightly, but the group of us, we're still doing it because we don't want to be without that. Because that is our plug-in once a month that recharges us and reconfirms everything that we did on that 5-day course. And it's just, and there's always somebody on the end of a phone. Richard and Liz are always on the end of the phone. I went for coaching with Liz this week, in which I have to say I've resisted because of my experience with therapy, with this one-to-one stuff, but God knows why I've waited so long to see her, because she's amazing, and it just everything makes sense. It's the clarification is second to none, so just do it.